Hey guys, good evening. Good evening. Happy Wednesday, September 15th. It's us again.
How's everyone doing out there?
Q&A. I'm Radlin Mendoza,
Final adjustments here.
This is my law partner and husband, John Gardner, and we are the attorneys at Gardner Mendoza Law, Immigration Law in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And we appear, as you all know, or some of you know,
every Wednesday
night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we are here to give you weekly immigration updates as well as to answer your immigration questions.
That's right. We do this every week. We like to bring you updates on immigration law, any other issues that we think are important that are legal related. And most importantly, we want to answer your questions. So if you have questions, we want you to put them in the comments and we are going to get to them. And I also want to let you know that we have our TikTok family joining us over here. So
hey guys.
Yep, you'll see me from time to time looking over there and monitoring all of that. And that's what I'm doing. I will tell you folks on TikTok, we'd love to have you. And you bring a lot of great questions. You always bring it. But if you put your questions in the Facebook Live, you have a better chance of them being answered because it's easier for us to see and monitor. And we can also put the text up, which makes it easier for everyone to read. So that's my advice. If you prefer to stay on TikTok, that's your choice. It's just harder for us to see the questions there. Okay.
They come really fast.
They do. And sometimes they come. And by the time we get to them, I'm scrolling, trying to find them again. So if you put them in the Facebook Live, it's easier. I also wanted to make sure to remind everyone that what we do here is for educational and informational purposes only. It is technically not legal advice. And so I want to give you that disclaimer. All righty?
Not legal advice.
Not legal advice.
That is correct. And there are many reasons for that, but I'm going to say that the main reason is when we analyze a case, we meet with a potential client for up to an hour, about an hour, and there are a lot of different facts to every case. Everything is very, very case specific. So that is the reason for that. We're not trying to blame it on our lawyer. It's actually real. We want to give great representation.
Absolutely.
And we can only do that with full facts. Right.
Yeah, I mean, Radlin's right. That is a really good point to bring up, is that, even when the questions come here and we're answering them, there may be facts that we're missing. There may be little things that we don't know. I mean, you're trying to give us a short question in Facebook or on TikTok. And
right.
For us to really, really analyze your case properly, we need to make sure that we have every last little tiny detail. And that's just something we can't really do here. Okay.
Yeah. Use this as a springboard to get more answers.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So what are we talking about today? We're doing a couple of immigration updates.
That's right.
And sorry, I keep moving away from our camera. But before we do that, we want to do our inspirational immigration story of the week.
That's right.
And because it is National Hispanic Heritage Month, it started today, September 15th, and it goes until October 15th for a month. John and I wanted to highlight a person that is near and dear to our hearts. She passed away several years ago, but she was from Medellin, Colombia, and she always wanted us to go. Her name is Rose Catania, and one of the purposes of National Hispanic Heritage Month is to recognize the achievements and contributions of Hispanic American champions who have inspired others to achieve success. Now, sometimes when people hear that word champions, they think of someone big, someone in the newspaper, someone wealthy, someone rich. But, for us, our champions are all the everyday people around us. It's our clients, it's our team, it's our family. And Rose was definitely a champion for us and to us. And she really, really, really did inspire us to achieve success.
Yeah, she sure did. We have a lot of stories.
Yeah, we had a lot of great stories. And she just was a wonderful, wonderful person. She was like a second mom to John and me, and really, really was instrumental in helping our law firm when we started in the fall of 2000 get off the ground, because John and I we convinced our parents that we wanted to start a law firm that was catered to Spanish speakers, because in the Hampton Roads area, there was not a law firm that did that, not an immigration law firm that did that. So I'm going to just go out in there and say, yeah, we were the first immigration law firm to cater and serve the Hispanic community. And Rose really helped us because she was our interpreter. She's our translator. John and I went to Spain. We convinced our parents, like, we got to go to Spain and learn Spanish so we can come back and start this really brilliant law firm. Yeah. And our parents were like, yeah, right.
Well, we figured we needed to learn some Spanish. We wanted to be able to say a few words.
Yeah.
And I had a few when we got back.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
The 2 words that I could say when I got back were beso frio.
Beso frio, Rocio beso frio. Right?
So for all the time that I knew Rose, that was always our joke. I would always call her Rocio beso frio.
Right. So we just want to really highlight Rose Catania, and people like Rose in the Latino community who really just inspires other people. Again, champions come in all shapes and sizes. And yes. I mean, if you were to look at Rose on the street, you would definitely not think, oh, that's a champion right there. But boy, when she got into your life, your heart, your kitchen,
she was a really good one to have in your corner.
She was very, very inspiring. And John and I went out of town, and we're just messy. Like we have a hard time organizing our stuff and our clothing. And we came back in, and she had bought this closet system for our room. She's like, what's going on in here? And to this day, we have this closet system that she installed several years ago. So anyway, that is our inspirational immigration story.
We love you, Rose. We miss you.
Absolutely. And check out Rose's picture on our most recent Facebook post. She was a great person. All right. Oh, look, my mom's here. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
I think she's able to catch our Facebook lives now that she's
that's fantastic.
Stateside.
Yeah, and we've got some questions all starting to come through.
We've got questions. Yeah, let's field a couple of questions. Let's see here.
All right, and I'm going to come back here to the very beginning because somebody had a question really super early.
Okay.
Let's see. They wanted to know, I think what they were asking, and I don't know if it's slipped away here, and I don't know the answer to this question. Hopefully you do.
Hopefully I do too.
It's an immigration case involving a sibling, and I don't know exactly what the grounds would be for the petition, but the essence of the question essentially is the person who would be doing the petitioning is in prison. So can you still be a petitioner for an immigration benefit for a relative if you are incarcerated?
Yes, we have done these cases before. It has been a long time since we've done these cases. I don't have the most recent, I don't think anything has changed on that, but I am going to say, yes, you can file a petition if you are incarcerated. There are some things that, so they're petitioning for a sibling, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to say 99.9% yes. And whoever asked that question, really, really great question. Mm-hmm. And please send me a direct message through Messenger or through TikTok, and because I want to get back to you and give you 100% yes that can actually happen. But yes, that can happen. There's no reason that it can't. Sometimes there's an issue with filing an affidavit of support. If it were for a spouse, I would have to ask, why are you incarcerated? Is that going to prevent the spouse from petitioning for a foreign national? So, but for a sibling, I think we're good.
Okay, good question. Here's another real quick, interesting question. This is a sign of the times. Got married virtually in Utah with my husband who is in Korea. Will USCIS recognize this marriage? Interesting.
So that's a proxy marriage. And I actually have never done a proxy marriage, and I was on Clubhouse a few months ago. Clubhouse is another social media audio application, and I was in an immigration room, and we were actually talking about this. So my understanding, and again, this is kind of goes with a grain of salt. Is that the statement?
Take it with
it, not goes with
salt. That's like when I said the whole burrito a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I was like, it's the whole enchilada. So take it with a grain of salt. But I believe that you have to have lived with the person prior to that, and then maybe you came back and then you got married. That sounds a little nuts to me also, that answer. But generally speaking, I'm going to say no, proxy marriages are not recognized unless you meet a very specific set of facts, which I don't know what they are offhand. I've never done a proxy marriage, but there is maybe it's you have seen the person. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I can get you that information. It is a couple of things. And I remember, do you remember it was late at night. It wasn't late. It was like 10 p.m. And I was like, hey, the proxy marriage, this is very interesting. But of course I have forgotten what the role is on that. Good
question. And get in touch with us and we'll see if we can get a more specific answer for you. Okay.
Oh, we have a question from the Stephen DeCastro. I don't know if I know the answer to this one either. You guys might be stumping us tonight on these questions. So if a country's travel restriction says you need a vaccination proof, what kind of proof do they accept? If the country says your PCR test needs to be translated, where do you get a certified translation? Oh, good question. So I can only speak to Steve. And Stephen DeCastro is a world-renowned filmmaker. If you guys haven't seen any of his work, go check Stephen DeCastro out. We are honored to have him on our Facebook Live tonight. He's also a really good friend of ours.
Yeah.
And we're not just saying that because he's a really good friend of ours. He is an award-winning filmmaker, and he's an amazing guy.
That's right. And before that, he was the best landlord-tenant lawyer in the city of New York, Brooklyn, and all of the boroughs combined.
I think he still is, actually.
Yeah,
if Steve goes and helps you with your landlord-tenant case, you're a very lucky person if you live in New York City.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to tell you to reach out to him because he might get mad. All right. So travel restriction, so it needs vaccination proof. Steve, when we went to the Bahamas website, the country's website with regard to this had very, very specific requirements. And I believe that it's different for every country. In the Bahamas, we had to upload a copy of the vaccination card, front and back copy of the vaccination card. And then the certified translation, there are translation companies all over for immigration, U.S. immigration purposes. In order for it to be a certified translation, you have to have that language on the document that says that you are proficient in being able to translate the document from, say, Spanish to English. And that's the certification. You don't have to be, a special person that has gone through courses in order to do this. You just have to attest that you are a person that is proficient in both language. Now, that is a requirement for translating documents for U.S. immigration. I don't know for other countries. I'm sure there are different requirements for that. But for the Bahamas, it was fairly straightforward. Of course, there was no translation required there, but you should stay home.
Whatever you're planning, Steve.
You shouldn't travel, actually. Just stay home.
Yeah, Steve, there's only a handful of us that know that Steve is also a king.
We're not going to get into that.
No, we're not going to get into that, but that's a little known fact. Just a handful of us are aware of that.
All right. I've got the question here. Let's see if we can grab this one here. TPS biometrics had the TPS biometrics before. So his EB3 biometrics were waived. The green card application was filed last month. How long will the EAD take now? Do you guys all understand that question? So basically, this person has had biometrics done. He's got a green card application filed. Biometrics for that were waived. And he wants to know, hey, how long is the EAD going to take? Anything that I tell you is going to be a wag, right? It's going to be a guess, because it's hard to say. Even if you have your biometrics waived, it's hard to say. I mean, we tell our clients, 6 months. So that's what I'm going to tell you. That could be longer. Hopefully it's shorter. But even though your biometrics were waived, you can expect the EAD to take up to 6 months to get approved. Good luck. That's tough to wait. I know.
Yeah. All right. And I see Mr. Gonzalez is here.
All right. I'm going to let John answer this question.
How are you? Good to see you tonight. So what's going on with DACA? I'll give a brief just update to everyone with what's going on with DACA, deferred action, childhood arrivals, the dreamers. You may have heard about this. What's going on with this is that it is pending in Congress, and we'll see where it goes. The latest update, just a little bit of back information here for those who don't know what's gone on so far. What's gone on so far is that there is a reconciliation spending bill that is being debated right now. You may have heard about this $3.5 trillion spending bill, and it's can get through the Congress without having a filibuster in the Senate. It's filibuster proof because it's going to go through as a reconciliation spending bill. There's an effort to get some immigration reform basically piggybacked onto that reconciliation bill so they can go through the Senate and not be subject to a filibuster. And one of the things that they're trying to piggyback on there is a pathway to citizenship for DACA recipients and those who are eligible for DACA. So last Friday, there was arguments were made to the Senate parliamentarian by both sides about why it should be included and why it's proper to put it in a reconciliation spending bill, and the other side arguing for why it's not appropriate. And what we're waiting for now is a ruling on that, because if she rules that, yeah, this is appropriate, this can be attached, then that's a really good sign, because then it's going to go through. And even if the spending bill gets reduced, hopefully the DACA will stay in there. TPS and some farm workers and workers that were deemed essential during the pandemic are also being debated there, but DACA is definitely one of the groups that's there. And so we'll just keep our fingers crossed. I told everyone the Senate parliamentarian is a former immigration attorney. We don't know if that'll help or hurt. It's hard. I will warn you, some of the things, there was an effort to attach an increase in the minimum wage to a reconciliation spending bill, and she ruled that was not appropriate. So it really remains to be seen what the ruling will be there, but that's going to be a really huge pivotal moment. So keep your fingers crossed, stay tuned, and I'll bring you any updates. Okay?
Great question.
Yep.
Great answer.
Sorry if it was a little confusing. It's kind of hard to frame it. There's a lot to unpack.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
What else do we have? Questions.
Okay, well, we have a lot of questions coming over here. Somebody here on TikTok had asked, they were confused. They want to know, what does it mean to be a conditional permanent resident?
Conditional permanent resident. So I'm going to talk about it in context of a spouse green card and not EB-5, which is the investor visa, which is because I think that's probably what they're asking. So as a conditional lawful permanent resident, if you get the 2-year card, you're a green card holder, and your green card on the face of it says you're a permanent resident and it expires in 2 years. What that means is when you filed your green card application, you were married to your spouse, your U.S. citizen spouse, or your lawful permanent resident spouse for less than 2 years. So as a conditional permanent resident, you have pretty much all of the rights and privileges of a lawful permanent resident. There are no restrictions on it. I say pretty much because there are certain crimes that that can be problematic for conditional residence, but they're, hopefully you don't get into any of that stuff. But as a conditional resident, the thing that you have to remember is that in that 90-day window before your green card expires, you have to file a petition to remove the conditions on the lawful permanent residence. So that is the I-751 petition. You cannot file it any sooner than the 90 days prior to the expiration of the card, or it will be rejected, or maybe they will fee it in and then deny it, which means you would lose your filing fee. And once you file that I-751, then USCIS will send you a receipt notice, and that 751 receipt notice will also extend your lawful permanent residence status for 2 years. Last week we talked about this, that when I started practicing law, the notice extended the green card for 1 year. Then, in the past couple years, it extended your green card for 18 months. And now, because of the long processing times of the 751, that notice is extending your status for two years. So hopefully that answers your question. I may have dug a little bit deeper.
No, this is great. And a couple of things I wanted to mention. So someone on TikTok had also asked about an update on the Dreamers bill. So I'm glad that we got to that. And the EB3 question, I realize now started out on TikTok, and then they jumped over to Facebook to get it up there faster.
All right,
so
fantastic.
That's an example.
I think that's, good.
All right.
Even though he probably did not like my answer of 6 months. So let's put cousin Roy's question up here. Will you help me sue the Canadian government to allow me entry without the vaccine, please? No.
No, you need to reach out to Stephen DeCastro
in New York City.
Stephen DeCastro in New York would be happy to help you with that case.
He wants to go on business and does not wish to get vaccinated. So no, we can't do that. Sorry. Roy's always asking us to sue the Canadian government.
That's but right. We haven't sued him so far.
We can't sue the Canadian government, Roy. But we love seeing you here on Facebook Live.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for always bringing us great questions.
Yes. He was serious. He was not kidding. He's absolutely dead serious.
Oh, I know. We got a U.S. citizen here on TikTok who wants to petition for her mother and wants to know what's the very, very first thing she should do. What's the first form she should be looking?
The very first thing you should do is watch all of my TikToks.
That's right. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay. If mom is, and I just did a video on this. I think I'm rumbling around the back of the recreational vehicle. I did this. But if mom is not in the United States, mom is abroad, then the very first thing that you should do is, if you meet all the requirements, she's actually your mother, you've got the proof for that, you're a U.S. citizen, you have the proof for that, then you file the I-130 petition, I-130. You can get that form on USCIS.gov. One of our TikTok followers commented that they filed the I-130 petition for her mom, and while she was still a permanent resident. So she became a U.S. citizen, naturalized U.S. citizen a month later. What's going to happen to her I-130 petition? That's going to get denied. So glad you're a U.S. citizen. That's just to throw it out there that please do not file an I-130 petition for mom or dad if you're a lawful permanent resident, even if you've already passed the test and gone to your interview and passed the test, but you still have not sworn in, you cannot file that I-130 petition. We're going to help them out and help them refile that. So I feel good about that. Hopefully that answers your question. The I-130 petition, USCIS.gov. Guys, PSA, do not pay for any immigration forms. Do not pay for any immigration forms. Go to USCIS.gov. They are there. They're free. The instructions are there if you want to self-file. Many people self-file. That's what Facebook Live is for. That's what our TikTok is for. It's for the people who are self-filing, so you don't later become our clients. Right. But for those who need help and want help from the get-go, or anytime you need help, please reach out to us.
Yeah, and if you start to look into it and you feel like it's more than you want to bite off, then just get in touch with us, and we'd be happy to be your lawyers and do it for you. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Here's a question. Maybe we would need some more details. The question is simply, can an approval letter get revoked after 2 years?
An approval letter, we would just say an I-130 petition.
Yeah, that's what I was
if nothing happens to that, yes, it can. You have to stay in touch with the National Visa Center yearly, and you cannot go a whole year without contacting the National Visa Center, or then that could happen. But sometimes when someone has not been in contact with the National Visa Center, we'll reach out after the year and try to save it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but they do give you a lot of time. They actually give you a warning letter if you haven't been in contact, that you actually need to be in contact with them. So you have time. But I would absolutely, if that's what the question is, I would definitely try to reach out to the National Visa Center, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, logging in, paying the fee bill, try to reach out.
All right. And if you want to petition for children, what's faster and better, if you're a U.S. citizen or a green card holder?
So it depends on how old the children. Well, no, I mean, I'd have to take a look at the visa bulletin, but it does depend on how old the children are. The visa processing times are different. I was going to say, generally speaking, it's faster if you're a U.S. citizen, but that's not true. It really depends on that month's visa bulletin. And so I will say that if you have unmarried children, so a lot of people ask this question, right? They say, what is faster? To petition for X person as a lawful permanent resident, or petition for them as a U.S. citizen? What this question is asking is, should I wait to file the I-130 petition for when I become a U.S. citizen? And the answer is typically going to be no, if you're asking me, right? And the reason is because as a lawful permanent resident, and you're filing for your eligible family members as a lawful permanent resident, and that list is not large, right? It's your spouse and any and all unmarried children. So those are the only two categories, right? All of your children who are unmarried, if you have married children, you cannot file for them as a lawful permanent resident, and your spouse. So it's a pretty short list. And the reason I say no, you should not wait to become a U.S. citizen, is because that I-130 petition, no matter what category you're in, is going to take many months to process. Okay. So let's say it takes 10, 11 months to process. All right. And then during that time period, you become a U.S. citizen. Well, your I-130 petition has been filed. You have an earlier priority date of 11 years prior, and it's just gonna be beneficial, because hopefully that I-130 petition is gonna get approved. So don't, typically speaking, generally speaking, right? This is not legal advice. Don't think, oh, I'm going to be a citizen 2 years, I can file 2 years from now. Let me go ahead and hold off on the I-130 petitions for the qualifying family members and just wait to become a citizen. No, don't do that. No, you just file the I-130 petition now and upgrade that petition later once you become a U.S. citizen. And, when I say upgrade, I think that's a made up term for immigration. Like, everybody uses upgrade. That's when you go become a U.S. citizen and you can move the family members to that different category, and then even apply for more family members. So what was the question again? Don't wait. Don't wait.
Okay. So we've got some more questions here if you want to check Facebook. And by the way, Steve, if you're still watching, Steve, I just wanted to let you know that this is what happened. This is a result of, I ran out of the really fancy Italian shaving cream and those really cool razors that you sent me.
Send it more.
And so I stopped shaving because I could never go back to anything else. I don't know where you got that stuff, but it was the best.
All right, you want to do a quick update real quick
Yeah,
before
absolutely.
we hop on any other questions?
Yeah, the one major update that we had where COVID and immigration intersect is that the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS, announced that effective October 1st, applicants subject to the immigration medical examination must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 before the civil surgeon can complete an immigration medical examination and sign the Form I-693, Report of Medical Examination and Vaccination Record. All right, so that's an update. Requires applicants subject to the immigration medical examination to complete the COVID-19 vaccine series, 1 or 2 doses depending on the vaccine, and provide documentation of vaccination to the civil surgeon before completion of the immigration medical examination. This, as I said, the requirement is effective October 1st, 2021, and applies prospectively to all forms I-693 signed by the civil surgeons on or after that date. And there are a couple of waivers that will be available. One is if the vaccine is not age appropriate. One, if there's a contradiction due to a medical condition, if it's not routinely available, the vaccine that is, where the civil surgeon practices, or if there's a limited supply and it would cause a significant delay in your case. So
that'd be all interesting to for our clients who don't want to get vaccinated, trying to fall into one of those categories. There are also religious exemption as well.
Yeah, sorry, there's a typo here. That's why I was contradicted. Anyway.
No, that's a medical term, honey. Contraindicated.
Contraindicated.
See, we're lawyers, not doctors. That's why that.
Okay.
That's why that word is strange. All the doctors on your line, that's contraindicated.
Contraindicated.
Yeah, lawyers.
Due to a medical condition.
Yeah. So
right.
Vaccinations for all those people needing the medical starting October 1st. Everything happens on October 1st. And what is it? The 15th, September 15th. So if you really don't, and we don't want to get into this discussion. We don't want to divide, but if you don't want to get vaccinated and you have a case right now, then you need to file your green card application prior to October 1st.
Yeah, and these are, as usual, the waivers are, these are pretty big waivers.
Yeah,
and
right.
They're super vague. I mean, not age appropriate, not routinely available, limited supply.
Right. Yeah,
that's a lot of wiggle room for whoever's going to be looking at this. All right. Okay. So that's an update for the COVID-19 vaccination and immigration.
All right. Any questions? What other questions do we have?
All right, let's get up here. Can my citizen husband apply for his married sisters?
Yes. And I get this question a lot. We get this question a lot on TikTok, and I always feel like, because other commenters will write in, and I always feel like I need to qualify that. Not qualify per se, but I have all these things open. What happened to? Okay, and qualify it, and just make sure people know that yes, spouse can. You're a U.S. citizen. You're a U.S. citizen. You can petition for your siblings. It doesn't matter how old your siblings are. It doesn't matter whether they're single or married. Yes, you can file that petition, but that petition does take a long time. It does take a long time. So I say it takes a long time, but then we follow up. We always follow up with, but you should go ahead and file that petition. And I'm not going to go into the sad stories of the siblings that got left behind. That actually happened in my own family. I'm not going to get into that tonight, but yes, answer is yes. Please go ahead and file that, even though it takes a really long time.
All right. And is it okay to get married with my spouse who is only here on a visa and doesn't have a social security number?
I'm not sure what that question is. Is it okay to marry the spouse? I would need some more information. So who's the U.S. citizen? Who's the lawful permanent resident? Who has the visa. Is it an immigrant visa? I would need to know more information about that.
All right. Sorry, you need more
But
info?
generally speaking, in any state, you can get married. But I don't know. Maybe there's maybe there's more to that question that we're missing. Feel free to write it in, or come on over to Facebook Live at Gardner Mendoza Law and put the question in there, and maybe we can add more characters to that and explain that a little bit more.
Okay, how about if my mom wants to come back to the US, but her green card expired last year? What should she do?
This question, we get this question a lot. And a couple of weeks ago, someone answered this question, and it depends on why she was out, right? I think that there are a couple of options here. She's been out for a year.
Didn't say how long.
Okay. So since last year, so let's just say it's around a year or less than a year. When you're outside of the United States for a year, or 6 months, if you're outside of the United States, they can basically have you prove at the port of entry that you did not abandon your lawful permanent resident status. So that's an issue, for people who are coming in who've been out. The other thing is to try to apply for a returning resident, and you'd have to go to the U.S. Embassy in your parents' country to apply for that. Here's the problem with that. The problem is that interviews are really backlogged. It's tough to get an interview, so it just makes me. It's like, gosh, we're waiting another 6 months for an interview, right? Or however long. I don't know how long it's going to be. And then now we've tacked on another 6 months. But again, a lot of people are going through this. And one of my recommendations, and again, this is depends on how risky mom is and how much risk she wants to take. If she's been out for less than a year, send her back in with proof as to why she stayed out for a year. It's COVID related, right? Or maybe she's taking care of a sick family member, or maybe she had to take care of something that she just couldn't get away from. But the COVID is going to be the reason every single time right now. So again, that's where, if you would like to make a consultation with our office, we can get more into the facts and the details and advise what the best plan of action is. Again, depending on how long mom has been out of the country, depending on how, why she was out. All right, hopefully that answers the question there.
Okay. Do you want to take another one here?
We've got this question here. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Gino says, we have an appointment with your firm at 3 p.m. on Monday. Thank you very much for making an appointment with us. But for a toddler without a social security number, is it possible to get access to Medicaid? Gino, I don't know the answer to that question. I would have to look that up. I'm sorry that I can't answer that question. Do you know the answer?
I don't.
Okay. See you on Monday, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, I don't know.
All right. Let's see here. How long until National Visa Center approves and starts medical and U.S. Embassy interviews? That was this big, deep breath and a deep sigh. And look at how cute the couple is, right? I mean, if is this the couple that we're dealing with here? Like, I can't. Daniel, thank you for the question. The National Visa Center is taking about 3 to 4 months right now, 120 to 150 days to documentarily, approve the case per se. Like, you've sent in all the documents, they've reviewed all of the documents. Sometimes there's back and forth if you're missing some stuff, or if the affidavit of support is missing information. There's a little bit of back and forth, but anyhow, once they receive everything that they need, that's taken about 120 to 150 days. that's, long enough, right? That's 4-5 months. But the real issue here and the real problem is National Visa Center is holding on to those cases until the U.S. embassies open up more for interviews. They are open, but because the backlog of interviews is so massive, it's going to take a while to get that case to the embassy, unfortunately. That's not the case. Again, that's not the case with every single embassy, but it is the case. I don't know if you're Filipino, but it is the case with the U.S. Embassy in Manila and Juarez, Ciudad Juarez. And I'm going to just say this. We hate to be the bearer of bad news, right? But that's sometimes our job. We have to give the news. But, we just recently finished a case in Juarez where our clients were waiting 2 years from the time that NVC said, all right, we've got all the documents that we need for your case. Here we are 2 years later, our client has an interview. Thank goodness everything went well. We just got the visa issued today in Juarez. That was an amazing win because, again, we waited so long. Our clients waited so long. And again, that was a little bit of a different case because there was a waiver involved there. But it's still the same concept as far as, waiting for an interview to become available. And that was a backlog in Juarez even before COVID hit. It was still super backlog in Mexico. So be patient. A lot of FaceTime, a lot of Messenger, right? If you guys are apart. But thank you for that question. All right. What else do we have today?
All right. Some folks here want to know if there's any exception to meeting a person for a fiance visa.
So we had a commenter. He was very sweet because he was asking the same question. His aunt was going through it, and you have to show hardship. You have to show hardship as to why the petitioner cannot make that trip. So in his aunt's case, and we have never done a case like this where we had to show hardship where the petitioner could not meet the fiance in person. So this particular person who commented on our Facebook Live, he said that his aunt was, she just was physically unable to go. And with COVID compounded that problem of her travels. So, that's, you gotta just show the hardship as to why that petitioner can't go. And it's a very, very high burden. I know that for a fact. It's a high burden. Good question.
Okay, let's see. Here's a question about the immigration bill and reform. Sam wants to know, will the parliamentarian okay it? I don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball on that. I did read the arguments from both sides, and unfortunately, it's like a lot of legal arguments. You read the one side's arguments and you say, oh yeah, that's definitely how you should rule. Then you hear the other side's arguments and you're like, no, that's definitely how you should rule. So it's definitely a difficult, it's going to be a close call. And I just don't know. Sorry.
Hey, your mom's here.
Our
moms are here again.
Hi, Mama.
She just saw you in the news. Usually that's a good thing.
Saw us in the news. Oh,
it's old news. Don't worry.
What happened?
It was a news clip from 2019. It's super cool. From Citizenship Day.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think I repost.
Scared me, Mama.
Oh, Steve is here. He's saying hello to your mom. My mom's here too. Steve, you should come to Virginia.
Yeah.
And say hi to my parents. Then you should stop in Ohio and say hi to my mother-in-law. All right, Daniel has a follow-up question. I'm with her in the Philippines along with our newborn. Should I head back to the United States and work then? Wait till approval. I think you should get a job in the Philippines. I know that's tough. I'm kidding about that. I understand. I can't answer that question. I mean, this is a family question. This is a financial question. This is a heart question. I can't answer that question for you, what you should do. You guys talk about it. I don't know. Sorry you're going through that. That's tough.
Yeah, it is. Clark wants to know, I petitioned my son who's 13, my daughter who's 19 under F-130. Are they the same waiting time?
Yes.
F-130.
F2A.
Are they the same?
F2A. Wait, I'm sorry. What is he, permanent resident?
Does not say
Okay.
if he's a permanent resident or a citizen. Don't know the answer to that.
Same category. So with family-based petitions and children, if your child is under 20, if your child is over 21, or as we know for those in immigration, going through the process, they will age out and they will go into a different category, and it's longer. So 13-year-old, 19-year-old, good to go, same category. If they are a permanent resident, that, that's the 2A category.
Right.
And as a reminder, as a U.S. citizen, there's no visa wait for immediate relatives, and that includes children under 21, parents and spouses. There's no visa wait. A visa is always available, but it's the processing time of processing that I-130, going through the National Visa Center, like Daniel and his wife are going through, and waiting for the interview that is going to take that period of time. So, but lawful permanent residents have a waiting period for those family members.
All right. Here's another question. Do you think the new immigration bill will pass? Again, I really don't know. If you're talking about the original bill that was introduced, no.
When we got all excited.
Yeah, the original bill that was introduced, no, I do not think that will pass. I think that we're keeping fingers crossed that some very, very scaled down version, some small groups may be attached to this reconciliation bill, but no, the original bill I think is probably dead in the Senate. My mom is here for vacation. She was given 6 months to stay here. Is there a way to extend her stay?
Yeah, there is. Mom can extend her stay by filing the I-539, the form that allows you to extend the B1, B2 towards visa status and other statuses as well. If the person writing in is a U.S. citizen, then there is also a possibility for adjustment of status for mom, which that would be great. Unless mom doesn't want to permanently stay in the United States. Like my mom, she's leaving soon.
Yeah, she wants to stay just for a few more months.
Oh yeah,
second part of that question.
You can file the I-539 and extend that status. Yep.
Got that I-539. Okay. Some more questions here.
Okay, well, while you're looking at that, let me just go ahead and give a quick TPS update, temporary protected status. So
I think I saw a question there about a DUI. We'll get to that as well when we come back.
So there for people who have TPS right now for El Salvador, Haiti, Nicaragua, Sudan, Honduras, and Nepal, your TPS is extended through December 31st of 2022. So 12/31/2022 from the current expiration date of 10/4/21. So you're all geared up to file, your TPS extension and your EAD extension, but halt, you do not have to, because it has been automatically extended through 12/31/2022. Right? That's a really, really important update. All right. Let's see here. Did you say?
I thought somebody said, yeah. Raul says, yeah.
Okay. You want to,
Sure.
yeah.
So it says, hi there, I have a question. My son has a DUI and he is under DACA. How big is the problem to renew his application? Unfortunately, it's big if he gets convicted. There are some bars to DACA eligibility, significant misdemeanors, which can be a little harder to define, but DUI is actually specifically named as one of the bars. And so if he has a DUI conviction, that is going to be a big problem there. So he's really got an interest in trying to get that DUI dismissed or maybe reduced, something we call wet reckless. Sometimes it's turned into a reckless driving with the same penalties as a DUI. Looks and feels like a DUI, but it's technically not a DUI. And maybe there are some other creative things that can be done as well. You should really reach out to an attorney to help you with that.
You should reach out to us.
And I was going to say I would. And
Sorry,
I would be really,
jump right in there.
I would be very careful because there are a lot of really good DUI lawyers in the area, but very few of them know anything about the immigration side of this. And so I would strongly recommend that you contact us. And that's not just a plug for our firm. The reality is this: we are perfectly suited to address the issues that you have there. And I don't think there's anyone else that is as well suited as we are. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry to hear that, Raul. That's tough.
That is tough.
And if the DUI, if your son already has a DUI, there's a real question as to whether he should. 9.5 out of 10 immigration lawyers will say, do not refile. Do not renew your DACA with a DUI conviction. Now, I know there's some pocket jurisdictions out there. I believe one is in Texas. And, you can get on the internet and say, oh, yeah, we somehow won this TPS. But not sure if it's worth the risk, right? Because you're really putting your son out on the chopping block if you file a renewal and with a DUI conviction potentially.
Yeah, and when I said that, I assumed that the case was pending, but now that I'm looking at the question more carefully, Radlin is right. If he already has the conviction, if it's a done deal, then you may want to really, really strongly consider whether even to file for the renewal. If it's a very recent conviction, let me just tell you, you have 10 days to appeal. So if this is something to happen within the last 10 days, then you need to get to the clerk's office immediately and file your notice of appeal to the circuit court. Okay.
That's a really good question. We haven't talked about crimes in a really long time. I was walking around the backyard of a friend's house, and my friend is a U.S. citizen. All right, this is a story. This is not a question. And my friend has marijuana plants, and he's allowed to have marijuana plants because it's Virginia, and you can have how many plants?
4.
I
think. I haven't looked at that in a while. I think it's 4, but they can't be visible from the street.
Right. So friend has 4 maximum number of marijuana plants that you can have. And I was thinking about immigration while I was in the backyard. I was just like, if my friend was not a U.S. citizen and he was lawful permanent resident, I would tell him he needed to get rid of his marijuana plants ASAP, even though it is legal in Virginia. And we haven't spoken about this in a really long time, but it's so important we probably should just mention it every week because
we should.
As states are legalizing marijuana, I think everyone is just like, yeah, cool. We can have marijuana. We can smoke marijuana. We can, gift marijuana. We can have it. We can possess it. You cannot as a non-U.S. citizen. So don't.
Yeah, we have sort of a complicated system. We have federal law, but we also have individual state law in all 50 states. And the criminal code is something that each state has their own state code, and the federal government has its own federal code. And many states have legalized marijuana, but it's not legal at the federal level. So for immigration purposes, all the things that were potentially a problem with immigration are still there, whether it's legal in your state or not.
Yeah.
So if you are not, I always tell people, if you're not a U.S. citizen, stay away from it, because it is absolutely a potential problem for you if you have a problem with the marijuana. If it's absolutely the most important thing for you to do, then become a citizen first and then tap at it.
And there's even question, I haven't looked at this recently, but there's even question whether, you know, a couple of business immigration lawyers and I were talking about this, whether you can even own stock in any company that, you know, that's maybe a dispensary, or, you know, it gets really complicated. We were wondering, okay, what should we be doing? Should we be checking yes on this box, or?
Right.
So, yeah, just be careful with that, guys.
Yeah.
Just be careful with that. All right, James is writing us back. He's the one that was actually on TikTok. We'll go ahead and put his. Oh, James says, talk to the supervised Utah County clerk, and said that the marriage is legal. He got married virtually. Marriage is legal according to the laws of Utah. The marriage was officiated by the county department clerk. Our family were united through Zoom during our ceremony. Can you please look into this if this is acceptable by USCIS? I will look into it for you, James. James is a little bit panicking right now, which I can completely understand, because James wants to file that petition.
Well, Utah is like a cutting edge state out there. Wow.
They want everyone to be married.
Yeah, I see that.
No, I mean, no barriers to marriage in Utah.
They're doing it with Zoom. I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we'll double check on that for
James,
you. Okay.
shoot me a message through Messenger, and my team will get that to me. You can also send me a message to info@gmlaw.net. Info@gmlaw.net. And for all of you guys, if you think that you may need our assistance, James thinks that he might need our assistance, reach out to us. You can call us at 757-464-9224. That's our office number. You can reach out to us through Facebook Messenger. And DMs are pretty full on the TikTok. I haven't gotten to a lot of my DMs. I try, but it's tough. So
I'm laughing at Steve's comment. You can put that up there. Thanks, Steve.
Oh, we're real genuine geeks. That's so hot. You had me at I-539, blah, blah, blah. You know, you got to love friends who you've known for how many years? 25? 26 years.
26 years.
That's crazy. John and I are about to celebrate our 20-something wedding anniversary coming up pretty soon. The 23rd?
23rd. That's right.
23rd, yeah. So we're super excited about celebrating that.
So somebody on TikTok here wants to know, can my boyfriend file a fiance visa when we are both in the USA? So I guess they're going to do a fiance visa, but want to know if it can be done while she's here.
Yeah. But I will ask the question. Well, should I ask the question? Is that what you really want to do? Do you really want to file the fiance visa and send and can go back home and be separated? Because that's what you think that you have to do, and that's the only thing that you think you can. The only thing that you can do. That's the question. So
the Flash would ask, is there always look? Is there a better way?
Is there a better way? Is there a better way? That's the question that you have to ask yourself.
Gary Allen.
So and I'll give you an example. When I had this couple, and he had to go because he was on a ESTA. You know, he was from, I can't remember, maybe the UK. And they said, rather than, we're here, we want to do the fiance visa. We want to make sure that, he's here. He has to sign everything that he needs to sign before he has to go back to the UK. And, looking at this couple was just mad. They were madly in love with each other, like they just were, you can tell this and get the vibe. And I said, well, what's your goal? Like, what would you love to see happen here? It's like, well, I mean, it would be awesome if he didn't have to go back, but I mean, he's got to go back. He has his ESTA. It's 3 days and it's done. Well, we didn't go. He didn't go back. We did something else because we could do something else. So when I see that question, I have to ask the question because it always reminds me of this couple that I represented so many years ago, because they thought the only possible thing that they could do while he was on an ESTA, same thing as a tourist visa, right? I mean, it's not the same thing as a tourist visa, but same concept. You're here visiting for a short period of time. You have a stay that you have to go back. And there was another way to do that where we could actually meet their goal of remaining together. And that is me telling couples to get married before they may even be ready to get married, because that's what they want to do. That's ultimately what they want to do and what their goal is. So what is the goal? A lot of times people cannot remain in the United States and do the adjustment of status process because of work, because of things they have to take care of. And so that may be the case here. But to answer your original question, yes, your fiance is here in the United States. You can file the I-129F while fiance is still here. But if that's what your goal is and that's what you want to do, just know that you're most likely going to be separated.
I would recommend you call us for a consultation. Make an appointment with our office.
Right, because it's already 9 o'clock. Where's our alarm clock? It's 9:03.
I know.
Where's our alarm
almost
clock?
out of time.
Yeah, we are out of time.
I want to take one more question because this is Dan from Florida.
Okay.
My nephew's Dan. So he says, what if my Mexican fiance and I want to get married in Mexico? Will she still be able to come and live here? What do you suggest we do?
Where is the fiance?
Does not say. I think the heart of the question is back to this marriage question.
Yeah.
If they get married in Mexico, is that going to be okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. You can get married. You can get married wherever you want to get married. But again, the question is, right now, let's just say she's not here in the United States. Is getting married, is that the best option for you? Is the fiance visa the better option? I don't know. We'd have to know more and check the current processing times, what the trends are. Yeah. So.
All right. And Gomer says salamat. That means thank you for those of you who don't speak Tagalog.
All right.
Okay. We've got a lot of questions here about asylum. Not going to get into all of those because this is just not a practice area that's a large part of our practice area, and especially dealing with this current Afghan refugee situation. Sorry about that. I don't know. Where could people reach out? Any recommendations?
You know what? I'm going to, if anyone wants to reach out to us about that, send us a direct message on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or an email to info@gmlaw.net. I just pulled down a really, really long list of resources for assistance. So I will send that to anyone who wants it, but just send us an email to info@gmlaw.net.
Yeah, we're getting a fair amount of questions about that issue. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Nope. I think it's 9. It's past the 9 o'clock hour.
Yes,
so
our alarm clock did not go off.
Yeah.
Our 10-year-old is supposed to come up here exactly 1 hour after we start to tell us to pull the plug.
Right. I think she's studying.
Mm-hmm. She is studying. And where is Mel, Steve? I'm wondering why he's
Mel
not
Marquis. He's in Australia, I think. But anyway.
Okay, gang.
All right, guys. Well, listen.
Go.
It was awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here and asking your questions and sending us the love.
Yeah, thanks to our TikTok family. You guys bring so many great questions.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
Yes.
Facebook fam, love you.
And family, right?
And family,
moms and Stephen DeCastro, and it's great to see everybody.
Yes,
but we will
old rock stars here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be here next week, right? We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here next week.
Next week, we'll
same time, same place. We'll see y'all then.
Okay.
2 thumbs up.
I'm gonna brush up on my medical terminology.
contraindication.
Yeah.
Take
All right.
care.
See you guys. Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.